Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Kayla's I.E.P meeting.
Thank you.
Would you like to have a bottle of water?
I'm sure that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about your parental rights and safeguards first. But just know we really like Kayla, and we're really excited to have this meeting, and she's a great kid, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask me during any of this, okay?
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. You just need to know that you have rights and you have safeguards, all right? If you have any questions about this, let me know. But there's basically about 8 different parts that I'm going to go over to that really explain your rights, okay? And even though Kayla's in 4th grade, some of these rights might be for older kids. But you should know them now anyway, before you get older. Okay. Parent participation, you are part of this team, all right? So all of us sitting here today, we're all part of this team, and you're an equal member of that. So you have a right to say what you want to say about this IEP, or if you want something added, you have that right to do that, okay? You fall under the definition of a parent. You have legal guardianship over your child, but in some cases, if there's a foster parent or if there is, a grandparent or something like that, there's certain rules that follow along with that. But you have to be in legal custody of your child, okay? I need to give you certain information. Anytime I propose to initiate a change, identification, evaluation, or educational placement of Kayla, or any provision of FAPE, I need to let you know about that, okay? And I need to let you know that in writing, okay? So you should always make sure that, if anything changes, that you are aware and that you know that, okay? Also, I need to make sure I give you a prior written notice of the IEP meeting. Like before this meeting, you were aware of the meeting and knew what day with it and all that, okay? The prior notice must describe the actions taken, and they must explain why they were taken, all right? The evaluation procedure, the protections that you have, and any safeguards. And it must be in written language and the general public can understand. So basically, we don't want to use a bunch of technical language. We want you to be able to understand, what you're hearing and what you're seeing, okay? And this must be 10 days in advance, especially in the state of Colorado. Other states may be different, but in Colorado it is 10 days. Parents must give consent for initial evaluation and consent for services. Parents also need to consent for reevaluations. Parents may revoke their consent at any time. Parents cannot erase record that their child was in special education, so you can't just wave it off. There are procedures in place if parents refuse to give consent and if parents want more evaluations paid for at the public expense. Parents also have the right to pay for independent evaluations and have them considered by the IEP team. So if you want to do some independent testing on Kayla, or you think more should be done and you want to add it to us, we'll definitely add it into the IEP and make sure that those things are done for her. Okay. Especially rights for parents of gifted students. If the family has a gifted student, you have rights that if they accept a disability proposed by the IEP team, then they must consent to the IEP, okay? And also, just so you know, you can get an advocate if you want. If you're worried about your rights or you're worried about the IEP process, you have due process, okay? So the state may provide an advocate for your child. Foster parents can do this if they're trained by the state. I will also review due process complaint procedures on any matter relating to a proposal or refusal to initiate change of identification, evaluation, or educational placement of the child or FAPE of the child. So just know, you always have a right to get an advocate to come in and sit with you. Let us know, and then we'll sit there and we'll work with you and your advocate. Okay. In Colorado, if students' rights at age 18, in Colorado, students must be emancipated by the court to take over their education in the state of Colorado. So, just so you know, Kayla, if she were to stay in school, parents still have right to attend meetings until completion of high school or until the age of 21. So you can be involved in this up to age 21, and she would have to go to the courts and get emancipated by the courts to have rights without you being present. So if you have any questions about any of these, here's your rights. I'm going to hand them to you, and you can keep those and get back to me at a later time.
Okay.
All right, thanks. All right, how you doing so far?
So far, so good.
Okay, good. All right, well, first, let me welcome everybody to the meeting. We have Kayla sitting here. Welcome, Kayla. We have Dan McPherson, who is one of the parent teachers. We have Jennifer McPherson, the mom. Kristen Louise, she's a general education teacher. Brittany Bird, she's a special education teacher. Lois Allen is the LEA representative. Jennifer West is here to interpret and evaluation results. Cassandra Locker is the principal. Betty Taylor is the vice principal. And Cliff Stockoff is the dean, and he's in here just to make sure if you have any questions you can answer them too. We need you to know that all of this information in this IEP is held in the strictest confidence here with all of us involved, and we don't share this information with anybody. All right, good. Well, just so you know, once again, like, it was a real pleasure working with Kayla, and I really felt like we got some good information for her for the meeting. All right, I just want you to know that, you know, just going through the IEP, reporting progress towards annual goals, we've marked that we're going to, at least one time every quarter, we're going to let you know about about Kayla's progress. And we're going to make sure that she is progressing to the goals that we have made in this IEP.
Now, will that be during report, like when she gets her regular report card, or is that going to be like a separate?
I think it's going to be a separate deal because we're going to do a parent-teacher conference. So we're going to meet at least once a quarter just to at least talk about this.
Okay.
And if you can't meet every quarter, we're at least going to have a discussion on the phone.
Okay.
Okay. Extended year school, I mean, she does not qualify for extended school year, which would mean summer school. Okay. We have enough information to determine necessary ES services, and they are contained in this IEP. But she does not qualify for ESY services.
So she would only qualify that if she wasn't making progress during the school year? Is that how that would work?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I can get back to you on that one. Okay. So right now we're going to look at the present levels of educational performance. So we do have some information reported by the family, and we have some information reported here by the teachers here. So we're going to describe the child's present levels of educational performance, including how the child's disability or giftedness affects the child's involvement and progress in the general curriculum or for preschool children appropriate activities. So impact of exceptionality. We're going to look at health. Kayla, obviously, her weight and height are within the normal range. Her vision, her eyesight is 20/20. Her hearing is within the normal range. Those are all good things. So she's doing very good health-wise. Social and emotional status. Okay, it's reported that Kayla is happy and motivated at school. She works well with peers, has many friends, and stays active outside of schools. Kayla, Mom, you reported though that Kayla does become frustrated and shuts down at home when reading math problems or comprehending math homework at home. You're saying that Kayla does need time with a trusted adult or mental health services when she struggles with an assignment either at home or school. So we're going to look at that later on, but that's good information for us to know. But the teachers do report that she's great with kids, she loves being at school, and overall she's just, you know, a real bright spot in the classroom.
Well, that's good to hear.
Her general intelligence, her teachers are reporting that she's focused and attentive. Okay, the Welshire Intelligence Scale for Children, 4th edition, the scores are as follows. Verbal comprehension was 89, perceptual reasoning 130, working memory 120, processing speed 110. Kayla's scores are higher than average in perceptual reasoning and working memory. As such, she is considered gifted and needs specially designed instruction. Kayla qualifies for twice exceptional services and requires an IEP to set up goals and list accommodations to improve Kayla's education. So So we're going to look at, yes, she's very smart, but we also need to find some ways to help her out with some of her reading and some of her academic parts. And that's why she's qualifying for this IEP.
Okay.
She has a positive, okay, when it comes to reading, Kayla has a positive attitude and is motivated to learn new content. She tries her best even when the work may be challenging for her. She is attentive, participates often, and works hard every day. And we're very proud of Kayla for you for that, honey. In reading, Kayla has made some growth in her fluency and decoding skills this year. She continues to need support in developing her fluency skills, vocabulary, and comprehension of grade level text. So if you look at your copy of your IEP, here's her scores. So for her Dibbles oral reading fluency, she got 97 words per minute. Words on their way, it's an informal spelling inventory. Level is within word patterns. She's struggling with vowel diagraphs and teams. She struggles with affixes. She struggles with breaking and creating syllables. And when you look at her scores, her word identification, word attack, and word comprehension and passage comprehension all gave her the grade equivalent of around the middle of second grade right now. So you can tell that that's what she's working on. We need to work on with her. But if you look at her listening comprehension, she's way above the mark. She's at 6.5, percentile rank is 99, and her standard score is 127. So when she hears it verbally, she's really understanding it. She does very well with hearing what's going on. Math, definitely one of her stronger suits here. Kayla is eager to learn and enjoys completing math assignments and participating in discussions. She helps her fellow students with math assignments, and they in turn assist her with comprehending written directions. She does very well working with other kids during her math, and they in turn are helping her. But she's really doing good working the problems out and listening to other kids, and it's helping her get her assignment done too. On her algebra, her grade equivalent is 5.2. Geometry, 6.0. Her measurement is 5.2. Basic concepts are 6.0. Her mental computation is 5.5. Her operations are 5.9, and problem solving is 6.5. All these percentile ranks are between 89 and 99. So she's really doing really well with math. It's just when she's reading it that she struggles understanding it, because she's struggling with the comprehending piece when she's just reading it. But when communicating, though, she shows age-appropriate skills. Her motor abilities, Kayla's showing age-appropriate skills with that also. So when I look at her baseline, so we want to start looking at goals, or we can start helping her with this reading and with her comprehension while she's reading. So our first goal is give an intensive reading instruction and phonological awareness, phonics, fluency. Wait a second. Oh, I'm going to stop real quick. Sorry about that. Let's go over her goals one more time. Okay, so our first measurable annual goal is give an intensive in reading instruction and phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension in the next 12 months. Kayla will improve her vocabulary knowledge of 22 by 20% to 26.4 by learning and defining 5 new vocabulary words per week as measured by the Woodcock Reading Mastery. Her next goal is give an intensive reading instruction. Kayla will improve her fluency in reading by improving her, it's a misspelled word, her speed as measured by the teacher fluency chart when given the Woodcock Reading Mastery. So we're looking at her speed in that goal with fluency. And her last one for reading is give an intensive reading instruction. Kayla, with intervention, one-on-one or in a small group, will improve her passage comprehension by retelling the passage correctly 95% of the time as measured by the teacher-maintained comprehension chart, which we'll keep in the classroom and with the special ed teachers, which will rate Kayla with a grade equivalent of 3.5. So we're trying to move her up at least 1 grade with that goal. Okay, now we're going to look at math. And like I was saying before, her grade equivalents are very high. So what we decided to do is give her some social emotional goals and give her some support when getting this done. So what we want to do is, for our first one is we want to, with given coaching and support by the general education teacher and the school psychologist in the next 12 months, Kayla will turn in her math homework 90% of the time that is assigned as measured by teacher maintained checklist. So what we want to do is, if she's struggling at home, I want you to let us know. And if she's struggling at school, we're going to have her check in with the psychologist to get some different kinds of appropriate ideas to work on these strategies, to work on these things so that she can feel better about doing the assignments at home.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes she just works so hard at school and she gets everything she got, but then when it comes time to doing homework, she just doesn't have any energy left and she just gets frustrated, trying to get it done sometimes.
Well, and we need to look at that when she gets home too. Like maybe a friend can come over and help her work on things together, and hopefully that maybe is what the psychologist can do to look at what's going on here.
That sounds good.
So, and we also have Brandon Johnson here. I forgot to list him earlier. Brandon is also on this list, so he's going to be talking to her throughout the week, and we'll talk about times with that. But he is a psychologist here. Yes, and he's going to be talking with her, and Kayla likes him. They have a good relationship, so that'll be good. And the next one we looked at is giving coaching and support by the general education teacher and school psychologist in the next 12 months. Kayla will attempt tasks that may be considered challenging and be willing to take a risk with new material with 50% more frequency as measured by the teacher anecdotal record. So we're going to, like I said, same thing with teacher and psychologist. We're going to try to attempt tasks, that are challenging her, that she's struggling with at home, and give her new material and give her 50% more frequency as measured by the records that we're keeping. So hopefully we can get her up with that.
Okay. That sounds good.
Now we always look at like the educational placement. So let me just read this to you right from the IEP. To what extent, if any, will the child not participate with non-identified children in general education classes, the general education curriculum, extracurricular activities, or in other non-academic activities? If full participation is not possible in general education classes, the general education curriculum, extracurricular activities, or other non-academic activities. And please explain why. So during targeted reading intervention, we're going to go 90 minutes a week. Kayla will be participating either in a one-on-one setting with a special education teacher or a small group of other students with disabilities. Okay, and then participation in district-wide assessments of student achievement. So when she participates in reading and math and science and social studies, Kayla will have tests read to her or given the test on tape. So she won't be forced to have to read this stuff and struggle with that. We're going to have people in there reading it to her, or the test will be on tape and she can be able to listen to it. And that'll be in district-wide assessments and also state assessments also. Okay, so she'll have those accommodations in both kinds of assessments. All right, specially designed instruction, related services, supplementary aids or services. All right, so Kayla will receive specially designed instruction in phonological awareness, phonics instruction, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. It'll be once a week, 90 minutes, and it'll be in the student support services classroom. So it'll be outside the general ed classroom. All right? And then describe the related services that she'll be getting. Well, she'll be working with a special education reading teacher once a week with 90 minutes in the student support services classroom. And she's also going to be with the school psychologist once a week for about 30 minutes in the school psychologist's office. And then we will get back with you and we'll have conversations with you too about the strategies we're developing there and completing her homework. Okay, so we've also looked at some supplementary aids and services that will be provided in the general education classroom and other education related settings to enable the child to be educated with non-disabled children. What is anticipated frequency, duration, and location? So Kayla will have the ability to check in with mental health services when needed if she is frustrated, bored with a lesson, or feels a need to check in. So if she's struggling, she has the right to check in with the mental health people or a trusted adult. All right.
And she can do that whenever she feels like it.
And if you guys call us and let us know you had a rough night, maybe we have her check in the morning.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
And that's when needed, and that can be 15 minutes, just a quick check in, and it might be combined with the 30 minutes of the week that she's already receiving. When Kayla is required to read in class, Kay will have the ability to use books on tape, assistive technology that can read text to her, and will be allowed extra time on lessons and tests. Okay, so whenever a reading is assigned in class, she's going to get extra time, and she can have this stuff read to her. All right, and she can have this also as long as the lesson or test is given to include extra time, which would be time and a half, and that's in the general education classroom. And then it's like some modifications and accommodations that will occur in general education classrooms. I mean, these are the kind of modifications and supports we want to give to her. We want written notes handed to Kayla at the start of a lesson. We want an organizational notebook. All right? We want to give praise before correction. We want time with a trusted mental health services when needed. An iPad with Dragon Naturally Speaking and the app Bleo and Read to Me installed on it, extended time, and these are all things when needed and at school.
Okay.
So we're hoping that these are things that are going to help Kayla and move her on. We want to see her progress. She's a very bright kid, and she's going to do very well in the future. Do you have any questions?
Well, it sounds like a good plan, and I like that she's going to we'll have meetings every quarter just so you can check on her progress. And I think it'll be really helpful to have that support from the school psychologist so that, if she does feel frustrated, she knows she has that support to help her deal with that frustration. So that makes me feel
Okay, good. I think frequent check-ins will be good too, because we really want her to do well.
Yes. Well, thank you all very much for your support. We really, really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Moore, there is a couple things I've noted on here that I do need to enter into the PLAP, so I will make sure the IEP has all those things so that they are, it makes the IEP compliant. And thank you for allowing me to present this IEP this way. I'm a little nervous, but it was very nice to do it this way instead of turning it in a paper. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.